Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? As I mentioned in our daily financial news video, there was a couple of other topics that I was thinking about that I wanted to take time throughout the day to record just so it is out there. And this first one is going to be around, does the political football, the toxic behavior, does all the antics going on in Washington D.C. politics, does that impact housing? Does it impact consumer decisions? Right? What is going on? What am I changing, if anything, around real estate investing because of what is certainly going to be a, well, let's just say what it is. It's going to be the most toxic end of the year that any of us have ever experienced. The sides are dug in, they don't like each other, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. But the question is, right, for this channel, one rental at a time, what does that nonsense and almost childlike behavior do or impact real estate? So I've been thinking about this for a while. I know I've avoided stimulus videos on purpose because they were nonsense until they were real. Well, guess what? They're real now. So we have to think what is happening in real estate investing. So there's a couple of things that I think about. I share with you, love feedback, all that stuff. So first off, what is going on in DC impacts demand, right? Is there something going on that would either spur or reverse demand for single family homes that we are seeing today? If you have followed this channel for any length of time, you know we've gone from a undersupply to a way undersupply of homes. My market of choice is down to a single month of supply of available single family homes, as an example. It has never been that low. So the question is anything going on in DC going to impact demand negatively or positively? And at the moment, through the rest of 2020, I do not see anything impacting demand negatively, at least in my sub-market, right? I'm very clear. Hopefully by now everybody knows. I think the big cities are in trouble. New York and San Francisco stand out. But the majority of the country is going to see upside because the high populated areas will be less populated. So I do not see Fresno, California, which is the market I've learned and watched for 20 years, slowing down. There's nothing in this toxic behavior in DC that I think slows down demand for quality single family homes. I certainly hope supply goes up. We'll get to that in a minute. But right now, demand outpaces supply, and I can't see that changing, at least through the election. So that's demand. What about supply? All right, what about supply? Well, at least for a portion of mortgages out there, the ones that are backed by federal organizations, the eviction moratorium, a foreclosure moratorium, has been extended. It was one of the 4 executive orders. It's true that the state of California has its own delays, but again, at least for the federally backed loans, the extension has officially been done through the end of the year. I think most of us expected that, but now it's here. I would say that's about 30 or 40% of the loans. I would say that is a predominant number of first-time buyers. So it is going to at least restrict supply at the margins, right? At the margins, we're going to see a few less homes because there are people certainly unemployed in Fresno that can't pay their mortgage that ordinarily would be forced to sell. It, I mean, I don't mean to sound crass, but that happens. So there is, at least at the margin, some supply restriction delayed till next year. So that's supply. What about the cost of capital, right? Like it or not, most people buy housing on mortgage payments, not sticker price. They don't go, it's a $400,000 house. They go, it's a $1,200 payment or whatever. Cost of capital, because of what's going on in DC, likely goes lower, which is crazy to think about. I have heard owner occupants with decent credit and financial backings getting loans under 2.75 30-year fixed. I think there's every chance in the world that owner occupant mortgages go under 2.5% 30-year fixed for the right credit and all of that. That's crazy to me. But that sometimes happens when cost of capital is going to get cheaper. And then the last thing, and probably the one that will be impacted at the margins the most, and that is consumer confidence. Consumers are really the heart of this channel. I'm always trying to track them to see where they are on kind of the I'm scared or I'm not scared continuum, fear and greed. And I think consumers will increasingly feel the tug and pull of a toxic election. I think let's just say what it is, the divided nature of our country at the moment probably gets worse before it gets better. And I think at the margins, consumers save more, which in a consumer-based economy means our economy slows. It means unemployment stays high for longer. I think GDP growth, consumer-based consumption lags in the second half. I think savings rates go up. I think credit card debt goes down. I think unemployment stays and probably rises into the end of the year. So those are the things that I am thinking about. What is going on at the ground level in my investment market? So for you, ask yourself, what is going on in the demand picture in your real estate market? Is there anything going on at DC or at the state level that could impact first-time buyers, owner occupants? We are seeing a wave of owner occupants. So ask yourself that question. Next, ask yourself if there is something going on that would spark supply to increase. Maybe you're in an area of the country that has a building boom and there's a lot of supply coming on the market. That would be interesting. I think the eviction and foreclosure moratoriums really holds back supply until next year. But I think you have to ask the supply question, right? Where is it going? I think the cost of capital is pretty standard or consistent across the country. I see it going lower, but you may see it going higher. I think we have to ask that question. What is going to happen to the 30-year mortgage rate? Because that is what, again, has the biggest impact on mortgage payments. And then the big one for all of us is what is going on with the consumer? Again, maybe you're in part of the country that is just booming and consumers are excited and they're going for it and we're past this and we're moving forward. Maybe you're in a part of the country where the consumers are getting scared. There's a flare-up. The news media keeps beating the drum. Maybe you're in a state that may go either way and you're going to be flooded with political ads from this side and that side. It's going to be an interesting end of the year. Probably not all that enjoyable, unfortunately. But when I think about my real estate investing, which is what I do, I don't see any reason why single-family home ownership doesn't slow down. I think we set a record. I think we increase. I don't see cost of capital going up. In fact, I see it going down. But the one that is most variable is consumer confidence. We have to watch that. We have to hold that true. If for some reason we really start to scare consumers and they retreat even more, you're going to see some bad GDP numbers, which will impact next year. So that's what I got for you. That was a topic that's been bugging me, right? Does the political nonsense going on in DC impact my business, what I'm doing for my family? So that's what I thought I would share. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. What are you doing? What markets you're in? What's going on? Real estate is local. Learn your market. See what's going on. Look at the big picture, but don't get too distracted. It is about your market, your business, your family. All right, everybody, take care. I got to do my goals video here. I got to go collect all the data.